have so many questions for Elias Soriano, frontman for Nonpoint. Thankfully, he's joining us this evening on Loudwire Nights. Welcome, Elias, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. I'm ready to answer them all.
I hope so.
Let's go.
I hope so. I have 10 Wisconsin Music Festival questions. I know you know those are coming. But before that, how are you? How is your family? Health is wealth. Everybody doing well?
Everybody's doing as good, I think, as humanly possible right now. The music industry is upside down with touring, people not knowing what's going on with touring. Releases are all being held back. Labels are nervous on dropping releases during the recession. One of our guitar players' grandmothers just passed from COVID.
Oh,
so, it's hitting very close to home when it comes to, my band. As I'm sure it is for everyone else. As many people that are unemployed right now, and as many people sick, and sickness on the rise. It's a scary time. So as a band and as a father and as a husband, I'm doing my best to keep my unit positive, and we're doing our best to keep our fans entertained and positive online. And I think that's the best that we can do.
It's all you can do. Just try your best. I'm glad to hear that your family is doing well, and equally saddened to hear about your guitar player's grandmother. So condolences to him.
Thank you.
All right. So give me about 30 seconds to give this backstory for those who are unfamiliar.
Okay.
Yes, we all miss going to see live music, but generally speaking, most agree we're not there yet. Definitely, experts agree the time is not now for mass gatherings. As Loudwire reported, a study done by COVID Act Now indicates that only 3 states, that would be New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts, are on track to properly contain the coronavirus at this point, with case numbers surging to record highs in various states. We watch the news, we know this. So,
yes.
When it was announced a couple days ago that the Herd Immunity Music Festival was coming to Wisconsin July 16th through the 18th, people had strong thoughts. Nonpoint was set to perform, one of 15 bands, and a few have dropped off, a few have been added at this point. But Nonpoint, we know they will not be performing. Let's start at the beginning. When was this opportunity brought to your attention?
Only a couple of weeks ago. And again, there's a lot of deciding factors to any acceptance of any show by any band. There's multiple members of the band. I'll remind everyone that we're in the middle of a recession. Mm-hmm. There's a million different opportunities that are being offered to us, but we've had to turn ones down left and right because they were inside of a venue, or we had already booked them well in advance of all of this lockdown stuff. So Blue Ridge Rock Festival, our show in Flint, Michigan, all got moved, all are being rescheduled. When this show was brought to our attention, first of all, it didn't have a name yet, so we didn't even know what the name was. If people know anything about my band, there is one thing that no one can argue with, is that we are very fan engaged. For 20 years, we have always visited our merch table after every single set. We have VIP band experiences with our fans, bring them on our buses, play board games, do private acoustics for personal fans. We care about our fans. They have kept us going. We've been the little engine that could for 20 years. So the last thing that as a band we want to do is go against that 20-year mantra. So when we get a show, the 5 of us sit down as partners. Hey, should we do this show? There's lots of factors and lots of assurances that are given with any show, even without a pandemic. When those assurances are matching the actual actions of the promoter, that's when contracts are steadfast. But when you're in the middle of a pandemic and you accept something because you're months without receiving any pay, none of us can receive unemployment. We're not wealthy by any means. My band we are very humble with the amount of money that we make. We're not, rock stars by any sense of the word if you want to look at our finances. But when this kind of opportunity comes, it's not just one person. The five of us sit down and we decide as a band, okay, what are the assurances? We were assured that there would be social distancing practices in place. There would be face masks available. There would be disinfecting stations available. When you receive those assurances and then you see something themed in a way that doesn't follow those assurances, then you should be able to reconsider. And when a show that is being put on and is said to be, is going to be safe, and you're given those assurances, then you make a decision. Now, when those assurances aren't met, like I said, we reconsider for the safety of our fans, for the safety of our family, for all of the facts that you just gave of why it probably isn't a good idea. When we started receiving comments in our fan group of the title of the show, then we understood that it might be possible that the people putting on the show may not share those same feelings or are willing to take responsibility for the safety of the people going to the show. I can't ask my fans to hope that the person next to them that may not be a fan of my band shares those same beliefs, that the COVID situation is real, that there are hundreds of thousands of people dying, and we should take it seriously. And as other shows are canceling left and right, especially over the last few days with the recent uptick, we have to make a decision. Do we want to put our fans in that kind of situation and hope that they make it out okay? Or do we want to disassociate ourselves with it because it's giving an impression that we don't believe in?
Okay, a couple of quick notes. I do want to be fair in the way I present this, right? So the festival is going to be held outside. 15 bands spread out over 3 days. The grounds can hold up to 10,000 people. They will only be selling 2,500 tickets, so about 20% capacity. That is the fact. That is what they're saying. So I just want to throw that out there. My question to you, though, like when you heard July 16th through the 18th, you didn't know the name yet. I get that. I get that that was unnerving to you, rightfully so. But when you heard the date, did you not think a little too soon?
Of course, but you got to remember, I'm going off of assurances and things and factors that people are giving me. The state of Wisconsin was already on its way to opening up when I did get this offer. And to be clear, we were all reluctant. Again, when you're given certain assurances, you hope that those are going to be, in place. And again, when you're making that kind of decision with so many factors, you want to do what's best for everyone. So knowing that the show was going on and being in the middle of a recession, you make considerations. But if those considerations are then, and those assurances are then coupled and backpacked with what seems to be an almost political, theme to it, that's not why we signed the contract. We signed the contract to play a show, not to create what's considered herd immunity, which we all can see historically with the Spanish flu and even with chickenpox party. That was the herd immunity, idea. That idea alone, I didn't know about this title until a couple of days ago. Our band didn't know about this title. We had issue with the first title, which was even worse than this one. They assured us that they would change it. We said, okay, change it at least so that way people aren't under the impression that we want to create this almost guinea pig situation with our fan base. The change went from something horrible to something just as bad.
What was the something horrible? Can you share?
I'd rather not, but I'm sure somebody's got to copy it on a comment. And it included the word COVID.
Oh, so COVID herd immunity festival. Yeah, I saw.
No, there was one before that.
Oh,
there was one before that. I challenge people to go out and take a look because again, there was no title to this concert when we signed that contract. And when where we're already reluctant to sign the contract, and then when we're being told that there's certain things put in place, and there was be certain, responsibilities that they would have, and then we're getting messages in our fan page saying, I went to the one that just happened with Ted Nugent, and none of those things happened, then I have to make a decision.
Okay, so
as a business owner, and for the liability of my band,
of course,
my 20-year career.
Just to be very, very clear, I feel like there's some reports out there that are kind of insinuating, if not flat out stating, that you guys changed your mind about the festival because of the name, but you do and did have additional concerns outside of the name.
Of course.
Okay.
Our fans raised concern, and we, like I said, for 20 years, we listen to our fans. If our fans have concern and more concern than support, then why wouldn't we listen to our fan base?
Okay, fair enough. One last question and we'll move on. There's a new song we want to talk about, but I will pose one more question. Powerman 5000 frontman Spider One shared his thoughts on the festival via Twitter, right? It got a lot of attention. He wrote, a bunch of bands that I consider peers and some friends are partaking in a show called the Herd Immunity Fest, which by that title is basically saying to their fans, come see us and we hope you get sick. What the actual f***? What are your thoughts on that tweet? Because I know do you run Nonpoint's Twitter? Whoever runs your Twitter account commented.
Correct. And that Rob commented immediately because he was like, why is this position being taken? We, a day before, had already dropped off. Before this tweet dropped, we had already sent to our managers and to our booking agent, we need to pull off of this show. We're getting too many negative comments for our fans. We were reluctant in the beginning. Now this is garnering nationwide media attention. This isn't why we signed this contract to be a part of the show. We did it. The state was reopening. We were being told that this was the way that the show was going to be put on. And as we did more and more research, and as the name and the themes all started coming in and the promotion started happening, it was nothing like we expected.
Thank you for clarifying that. I think it's important to get the full story, and you went very in detail with it. So I really, really appreciate it.
I have emails and comment screenshots to receipt every single word that I say.
He's got the receipts. All right, let's move on. Now that we have thoroughly covered everything, whatever the fest is called related, they have no name. They have a different name. I don't know what they're doing over there. All right, let's talk about Nonpoint's beautiful new song. It is a reworked version of Frontlines. It's called Remember Me. It's a tribute to the frontline workers in the pandemic. Tell me about the moment you knew that you wanted to show your appreciation and how the song came together.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, as we came off the Alive and Kicking campaign, and it garnered so much attention and so much positivity, we just thought to ourselves, what's next? And the idea of Frontlines came up, and we were trying to put it together acoustically to release as a thank you to essential workers. Like I said, COVID is hitting us very close. I'm in Michigan. The guys are all in Chicago. We see it all happening. We see the effect that it's happening. So, we know that people are putting themselves in harm's way, to help us through all of this, from, EMTs to Target employees. So, we felt like, it was just the natural next step after the Alive and Kicking initiative. When we started to sit down and put it together, I just was going over the lyrics and the verses, and, I felt like it could speak differently to include some of, those essential workers and some of that theme that we're in such support of, which is let's help each other get through this.
And where are you working on this music? Are you home? Are you venturing into a studio? Are you guys working remotely? How does this come together?
We're working remotely. Everybody's recording where they can. And then we're coming together with the help of Rob Rusha, who's basically our, sixth man on this team. He does all of our recording, and when we're not in the studio doing our main records, he's always there for those as well, as engineer. But, for the most part, he's the man. So we send him all the stuff, and he makes us sound amazing.
What are you loving and hating about working remotely? Is there anything to love about it?
Being home.
There you go.
It's always great. It's always great to be home. I'm spending a lot of time with my daughter and with my wife. So no complaints. No complaints over here.
Love it. Love it. The stars of the video, if you will, which dropped June 26, are all frontline workers from around the U.S. holding signs with the lyrics to the song. How did you gather all of those people? I did find it to be a very powerful, beautiful video.
With the help of Francesca Ludicar. She's our creative director, basically our brand manager. Once she came up with the idea, she just jumped right in, and we reached out to our fans and set up an email for them to send Francesca just a brief description of what they did and how they're helping. And she picked through hundreds, possibly thousands of emails, and we tapered it to just over 200. And those are all fans, real fans of the band.
That's so cool. I was thinking that's a lot of people to get to. I mean, I've seen some bands try to get fans interacting that will remain nameless, and they get like 5 things.
Probably 60 hours of editing, and plus, 60 hours plus of editing, a week and a half. And that's not even including the corresponding and the directions and, hey, go back and try it this way now. Oh, you forgot to put your slow motion on. All that back and forth. I give Frankie all the credit for that one.
So where does Nonpoint stand in terms of a new record? 10, the band's 10th studio album released August of 2018. You guys are good for a new release every couple of years. So have you been working?
We're always writing new music. We always have a catalog of stuff working. Right now we're sitting on probably one of the most monster songs that we've probably ever written. So I don't see it not happening, but I can't say exactly when. But it's going to be a banger when it does hit.
So you feel like the next single is ready to go. What's inspiring you in 2020?
2020, the whole world is vibrating really, really strange. There's a lot to write about. So I'm using every turn, every news story, every deep emotion, every hard time. It's getting down. It's going to be put down.
Okay. What else is going on in Nonpoint land that should be on our radar?
Shortly after this, we have another huge campaign coming off of the Frontlines campaign. We went from Alive and Kicking to this, and from here, we're going to take another completely different spin. And this is probably going to be the most fan-engaging campaign that we've ever put on any of our socials. We're super excited. So I'd say give it another week. And maybe we can talk again, and I can give you the news of that one.
I love it. Does it involve a new song or another reimagined song?
Indeed it does. Indeed it does.
All right. Something to look forward to.
We're excited. We're excited.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elias Soriano, frontman for Nonpoint. Thank you for setting the record straight. Thank you for your beautiful new tribute to the frontline workers. It's called Remember Me. And most of all, thank you for your time.
Thanks for everybody that's listening, and we can't wait to see you guys as soon as humanly possible.